Watch out, here I come.
Alrighty. Welcome aboard, everybody. Okay. Everything is working right the first time now. Here we go. That's good. There we go. Yeah. Now we're working. Okay, good. Good. Excellent. There we go. Hold on. Let me make sure that this is... There we go. All right. There we go. We got it. First time around. We got it. Welcome aboard, everyone. It is your host and founder on this wild ride, Demetrius Villa, your conductor for tonight. And tonight, this is what we were going to talk about last week. I'm feeling a lot better this week. Apologies, guys, because there was a lot of stuff going on at work, but I'm still employed, so that's a good thing. But good thing, we're gonna talk about this stuff because there's a lot shaking down right now. Here in the United States, economics-wise, infrastructure-wise, and this is a good opportunity, more than anything else, to right now really start hammering this down in your local community or online, on the online spaces. This is where it's coming down now. So, as a brief recount of what we were kind of talking about last week, and I'll get into this as quick as possible. So, Trump has announced that there are going to be tariffs, about 25% or more, on automobiles starting April 2nd, right? So now everybody's freaking out. Volkswagen and, I'm not going to call them Stellantis, Chrysler, because they're making a lot of stuff over here, they're going to evade those tariffs. BMW, not so much. So, there you go. Quick points. Last week it was announced Donald Trump's, and this was 2 weeks ago now, President Trump's new 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada would exempt vehicles that comply with the USMCA trade deal. German car-making giant Volkswagen told CNBC that operators meant it would be exempt from the levies. BMW, meanwhile, said it would not be given an exemption on the rules, warning that tariffs would hinder free trade. Free trade for everybody else, but not for us. Isn't it funny how that works? But funny enough, things are now shaping up a little bit better in terms of the ports, so things will probably do with that. The port strike is not happening anymore. Remember, we talked about that back in the fall and winter of last year. So they did sign a 6-year contract, so they're getting a 62% raise in the automation job protection. So I guess there we go. But the other things that are also shaping up because of everything going on, we got the ports here and back in Panama. Yeah, you will get your Japanese imports heartless fee if you're buying from cars from Japan. But speaking of, I was reading an article the other day that Japan is basically, or any Japanese companies are stocking up on a whole bunch of Suntory beverages like Voss Coffee and a whole bunch of PlayStations. They're stocking them up here as fast as they can to try to beat the tariffs if anything comes down. But I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this before. The Panama Canal has now been sold to MSC, which is owned like 25% by BlackRock. So things are shaping up in ports, shipping. The automobile industry is also getting a look at that. Arrival, the world's largest car carrier, marks Texas port's gateway strategy. So things, and this is Volkswagen, a key import gateway. So, I mean, things are shaping up pretty rapidly. Depending on who you are, it can be both good and bad. right? So for imports, I mean, hey, you're having now larger carriers. The United States has basically regained control of the Panama Canal. People are freaking out about tariffs. But what is his main thing? Well, I mean, also even Ferrari is freaking out about tariffs, and they're doing scenario planning to counter potential impact of tariffs. I mean, Ferrari hasn't done. Let's put it this way: their Formula One debut has been a disaster. We told them not to get Hamilton, but hey, anyway, I digress. But the point is about tariffs, and we've talked about this before, that the last time we had Trump tariffs, what happened? Well, no impact on inflation. You had double receipts, basically more taxes from the customs duties, as in more in tax from the coffers that we're not paying for. It's mainly the companies that are importing a whole bunch of the garbage. Just, yeah, again, it's not garbage, all of it, but a lot of it is stuff that we could be building over here, higher quality, and using American workers, okay? The thing is that Americans, the American companies in general, have become they become too misaligned with getting a lot of stuff and offshoring it over into overseas, whether it's China or Thailand or wherever else that they're putting it in. They've gone way too overhead. So now the whole point of tariffs, as we talked about before, is to try to bring stuff back over here. Okay, and it is working. Okay, more or less. Now Canada can't even match it anymore. They've ran out of gas. They are limited to matching further U.S. tariffs, according to whoever's leading Canada right now, because nobody knows who the heck is leading Canada at this point. I don't know who it is at this. Okay, it's Mark Carney, I guess, but since Prime Minister Trudeau has gone, Castro is gone, so this is do we really want these guys as the 51st state? Look, I feel bad for all the Canadians that have to deal with this stuff, but I mean, I don't want them. Okay, you guys you guys can have your own nation, deal with your own problems yourself. We have too many problems as it is. Look, I don't think we should be going for any sort of 51st state, whether it's Greenland or wherever else, or rare earth minerals in Ukraine or any of this sort of stuff. We can do stuff here, and we're gonna get into that because, like we talked about before, Honda made major moves to get rid of these tariffs, to get past these tariffs, okay? Because before, they were going to go ahead and build or enlarge a facility down in Mexico. Not anymore. They're going back or expanding what they have over in Greensburg, Indiana. There you go. Honda will make its next generation Civic Hybrid in Indiana instead of Mexico to protect it from planned U.S. tariffs on imports. So there you go. Yeah. In short, tariffs do work, right? So we did this last week. Okay, I'm just bring you guys up to speed because this is what I was mainly going to talk about are the changes that we're seeing, not just in the whole market and economy as a whole with the tariffs, but also within the automobile market, which will be changing the way that we see transportation, changing the way, especially the next generations. Okay, mainly millennials, Gen Z, I guess. We're adding Gen Alpha at this point if they can stop watching Skibbity Toilet or whatever. But regardless, the next generations, we're all on board, pun intended, I will intend my puns, with having more rail transportation and less of a reliance on automobile transportation. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to get rid of the car entirely. I love my car, okay? I love my Lexus LS430. It is a beautiful testament to quality, to engineering, to reliability. I like that thing, and I'm going to keep this thing going on the road and as much as I can, okay? I like having cars, but we need to really change the way we think of car culture in this country as a whole, because other countries that do have massive amounts of high-speed rail or rail transit in general, or public transit, buses, you may name it, everything else under the sun, and walkable cities, okay? Walkable cities, they're not just 15-minute cities. No, we've had walkable cities since cities were ever a thing in human history, okay? But Germany and Japan also have car cultures, okay? Have you seen the car culture in Japan? It's pretty crazy, okay? There's a lot that goes on in there, okay? And we need to really change our car culture here. But here we go. Let's talk about this, the relationship between automobiles and railroads. So Greensburg, Indiana, okay, sits between Indianapolis and Cincinnati. Okay, there's a lot of cities over here when you look at the Midwest a lot of cities that are very close to each other within 3 hours, 2.5 hours or less of driving distance. Okay, very easily can be, connected by railroads. And this was the economic and manufacturing powerhouse, and it still is, of the United States. Okay, there's a lot that can still be brought back over here and have these cities roaring back again. But going back down over here to Greensburg, Indiana. Okay, there you go. You see, there you go. Small town, Greensburg, Indiana. I mean, not technically small, it's a town, but there we go. The major employer in the city is Honda Manufacturing of Indiana. You want to buy American, buy a Honda. Okay? Don't buy the big three anymore. Buy a Honda. I mean, heck, even Toyota builds stuff over here too, or Subaru. I mean, there's still some of the big three that do have and build stuff over here. But as you saw, Volkswagen is getting past a lot of those tariffs because they build a lot of stuff over here. But regardless, let's look at this. Oh, wait a second. There's a railroad over here. What railroad is that is moving all these cars? So see, the automobile industry is still, funny enough, ironically, it is dependent on the railroads, particularly short line railroads, like the Central Railroad Company of Indiana. Okay, that connects over to Cincinnati and all the way via transfer over to Indianapolis and so on from CSX. So, I mean, there you go. Okay, and it says it right over here. Okay, the major railroad traffic comes from Honda Manufacturing of Indiana. Okay, but other stuff like grain, chemical products, steel, and other miscellaneous freight are handled between Greensburg and Cincinnati. So, again, if we bring back manufacturing, we bring back more railroads. Okay, and more of these short lines, as we've seen with Brightline. Okay, Brightline is not a short line; it's a Class 2 railroad. Okay, it's above, it's like in between one of the big railroads like BNSF, CSX, Norfolk Southern, all those other places, or all those other railroads, not places, but they do exist in places. They do exist in the plane of space and time. So technically, they are places too. But regardless, the thing is that these railroads, like Brightline, what we're talking about, these don't have to deal with so much freight traffic compared to the big Class 1s. And they have a little bit more leeway and freedom to go ahead and deal with, let's say they want to build a passenger railroad system. Because let's say later on, Central Indiana Railroad or Central Railroad of Indiana says, you know what, later on with so much railroad traffic and, they have enough free capital and free money to deal with, they say, maybe we want to go ahead and do a railroad between Indianapolis and Cincinnati. So that's another reason why we talked about that. Okay, it's not a thing, but it can definitely be a thing, and we've seen this before with Brightline. And I will talk a lot about Brightline, plus a lot about Texas Central Railway. That's going to be talked about here as well. But as you can see, there you go. This is the tracks right over here. Okay, so a lot of places and a lot of companies that can be served by this. Again, it's all a matter of building back over here. Okay, and it's not just that it's private industry or anything like that. It doesn't have to be all private, because here you go, the right-wing state of Indiana, okay, do give railroad grants. Okay, and look, Indiana is a pretty right-wing state. All right, we have open carry over here. We have basically, there's a lot of loose and lax laws over here in Indiana, and every time you turn on for an election, the first state that says, and the results are in, Indiana, with 11 electoral votes, is voted red. Okay? It's a very right-wing state, to put it bluntly. But, there you go. Well, what is fiscal conservatism? Wait. They're giving grants? They're giving $250,000 grants to Central Railroad Company of Indiana got $250,000 for grants to go ahead and replace 4,800 ties, add 1,600 tons of ballast, and surface 8 miles of track on the Central Railroad Company of Indiana. Wow. Wait a second. You mean the government can't actually do money and help out and do stuff like that? Again, it can. Okay? So there you go. Okay? Among other customers, this rail line handles thousands of new Honda vehicles each year, moving the new cars from market from the automaker's Greensburg assembly facility. Okay? So look, as I said before, if you have the right people in charge, it's about making life better for people and for families in the United States. That needs to be our goal. And particularly here when we're talking about states, what is best for the people and citizens and families of Indiana. Okay? And that's the same thing that every state should be thinking about. What is best for the people, not just best for a business, because sometimes you have businesses that come in, and we'll be talking about some bad businesses. We'll be talking about that later on. But the thing is that the whole point, again, it has nothing to do forget whether it's public or private or free market or whatever else. The whole point right now in this country is that we need the right people in charge. Particularly, we're at a lack of morals. And the morals that we need to bring back are putting people in the family first. Okay? Because if you put family first, you need to have family wages. You need to have people that can be employed securely for a long time so they can be able to have families. And you have secure families over here. Well, I mean, let's put it bluntly. Let's say, selfishly for the state, that means more of a tax base. Okay? But you have to have people stay here. You have to be able to support them. And by supporting them, that means you have to have businesses stay here and long-term economic growth. Not just short-term that, 3 months go by and a quarter goes by. Oh, well, we didn't do so good. The whole board says we need to reduce headcount because we have too much headcount. Oh, there we go. There, the number's gone up. The stock went up. There we go. That's what we need to get away from. Okay? Are these 3-month cycles that everybody panics. Okay? As my mom says, we're in a bad thing right now, okay? And this crap is not going to get fixed overnight, okay? This is going to take time to fix our economy and everything else. And we'll get into that, but back to this, okay? And we were talking about this before, okay? Short line railroads and freight railroads in particular, okay? Not the big three, but having smaller businesses. That's another thing. We need to find ways to also, by saying we need to be more state focused, that means distributing the means of economies through the state, through local businesses, through more. You can't just up and move a railroad. That doesn't happen. Okay, you can't just up and move a factory pretty quickly. Let's put it that way. Okay, factories, yeah, you can offshore and shut down factories. Railroads, not so much because it requires a whole lot, but you can just let them rot. Okay. And that's unfortunate because there's a lot of railroads that are rotting in this country. But we're still number one when it comes to freight railroads. Okay, that's still a thing. But we can do a heck of a lot better. And even better than that, we can go ahead and make this happen for a whole lot of the rest of the country. So here you go, a quarry company to revive, expand 27-mile long Central Texas rail line through Burnett County. Okay, now what's this meaning? Yeah, you have to get a whole lot of. We have natural resources. Why do we need to go to Ukraine and do a deal with Ukraine for rare earth minerals? Forget that. Let's just forget the war entirely. The war needs to end. Okay, all this United States empire all over the world. We need to start thinking about being back over here in this country to rebuild our nation. Okay, and forget all these rare earth minerals in Ukraine. We have minerals over here. Okay, like for example, Indiana limestone. We talked about this before, okay? Indiana limestone being quarried. There you go. We've had this sort of stuff, okay? People used to dress better, by the way, okay? It's just, I don't know what's happened in this country. Again, lack of morals, okay? We can just state it that way. And you can take from it what you need. But there you go. Look at that. Being loaded onto trains in Bedford, Indiana. There you go, okay? And we're going to need to start bringing back and doing this sort of stuff over here. Because look at this. All the best stuff in this country used to be built by Indiana limestone. Grand Central Terminal. Let me see. How many? 35 of 50 state capitals in the United States are made of Indiana limestone. Okay? And there's a lot you can do with limestone, and you can make housing with it. Because at some point, we need to start figuring that out. Because the tariffs will hit the housing market with all the, let's say, lumber, gypsum for drywall, and home appliances are expected to be impacted by tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Why are we getting lumber from Canada? Why are we getting gypsum from Mexico? Why are we getting all these appliances from China? We can build them here. We can do it here. We can mine it here. Again, this is about making sure that we have self-sufficiency and long-term stability for our nation, for our people. That's as simple as that. Okay? Now, for the time being, the houses, and we've talked about this before, about how houses are built terribly over here. And there you go, look at this. It's basically twigs, okay? You can punch the wall without any sort of effort whatsoever. I can poke a finger through this wall if I felt like it right now. But I'm not, because I'd like to live here for as long as I can until I can get my financial situation in charge, because I can't afford Most of our generation cannot afford to buy a house. Okay, and it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Okay, and like we said with everything else, it's going to get worse before it gets better, a lot worse, and it cannot change overnight. Okay, this is something that's going to take a paradigm shift, and it's going to be a slow shift in that. But we'll get there at some point. Okay, sooner rather than later, because right now the younger crowd is starting to kick in. As you can kind of see from the beginning of the live stream, we started with the little Vance memes. Look, I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. And Vance, I think this is a step forward. If finally have a millennial second in command, okay? And he embraces meme culture, okay? Say what you want about him, but this I think is a massive positive, that we have somebody who actually listens to his cohorts and his generational cohorts online and on X and stuff like that. And the thing is, if you've looked at Vance, through the long shift, and I'll be real quick with this. He's very much shifted his politics from where he was before 10 years ago to now. Okay, and we've seen that a lot in our generation too, and we've talked about this before. In fact, we can say how we've identified politically. I was going to leave this towards the end, but I'll just put it real quickly. But I would say a lot of us now, especially in our space, we now have a large cohort of people who are more, let's say, right-leaning, and there's a lot of different right-leaning sort of people in our space. Okay, there's really not so much in terms of centrism in the millennial and Zoomer generation. Okay, the younger generations, we're saying, you know what, we need to find something more effective. It's not the left. We're just saying that because most of us over here are more right-leaning. Okay, and I've done that on purpose with the American Rail Club because there's enough left-leaning transit organizations out there. And I say, you know what? It's time for something that we need to be more, let's put it this way. We need to be simple about making America's railroads great again. And you got to switch hats. That's another thing too. Okay. Always know when to switch hats. Okay. But yeah, look, this is things are going to be changing real quickly here, and hopefully it's for the good, better. Okay, now to the car industry. This is what I was going to get to. We'll talk about the car industry, and then we're going to shift this into transit. Okay, I've had this. I've done all the research. I've got this all down here. This is going to be a very good stream, guys. Okay, so sit back, enjoy it. I'm having the final eggnog. It still lasted. So I'm having the final eggnog, and then a pint of Guinness afterwards. By the way, if anybody who's had green beer yesterday or anytime during the weekend, this is the only rule that we'll make, for at least for now, for banning people out of the club. If you drink green beer, you're out of here. Okay, no green beer. We're gonna say that real quickly. No green beer. Alrighty. Let me just look at the chat real quick over here. See, unfortunately, Canada's new PM is a former governor of the Bank of England. Be worried if I was a Canadian. Yeah, it's going to get worse for Canada. It's pretty sad. Boy. I also don't want to ditch importing a newer Suzuki Jimmy from Japan. That's from Darius. Yeah, look, a lot of now people are importing like the smaller Japanese cars now because, or any of the older Japanese cars, because most of them, they were taken care of pretty well. I mean, let's face it. When you buy a used game from somewhere in the United States, somebody looks like they chewed on it. The manuals are gone or ripped up to pieces. The CD's all scratched up. If you buy used anything from Japan, it's all neat and tidy, almost like if it was brand new. I mean, some of them even wrap it for you and everything, and put in little stickers and thank you cards, little pictures of themselves saying, thank you for buying this product, and all the little cutesy stuff that they do. It's hilarious, but things are changing. Okay, so look at this number 3 car brand in America. I wonder who, when we're talking about the number 3 car brand in America, who could it be? Does it start with a C and it rhymes with Chrysler? It must be Chrysler. There we go. A staggering 70% drop in profits for 2024. Ouch! Look at this. Let me see. Jeep Wagoneer, buying a $114,000 Jeep. By the way, if you see anybody driving a Jeep Wagoneer on the road, and you know who the type of people are who drive a Jeep Wagoneer, just point and laugh. It's just silly. It's silly. I don't know how they're probably leasing them. I mean, it's ridiculous how massively expensive these cars have gotten. But I mean, look, Fiats and Alfa Romeos and anything Stellantis under there, they're staying. Look at this. In September 2024, Dodge dealerships had so many unsold Hornets that it will take 428 days. This is inventory turnover. 428 days to clear their lots of this struggling model. Nobody wants a rebadged Alfa Romeo that has been beefed up to be ridiculously, overweight, underpowered, piece of garbage. It's a piece of garbage. It probably has a turbo in it. It's going to bust in 3 years. It's going to give you problems, and it's going to be a disaster. Okay, and the same thing. Just the whole auto industry is finally coming to a reckoning. Okay, it's the whole market is changing rapidly. Okay, because nobody, at least in our generation, not too many. Let's put it this way: not too many people want to buy a new car. In fact, used car prices have gone up astronomically. The average age for a car on the road, if I remember correctly, is about 15 years. It's the oldest, or 12 years, something like that. It's the oldest age of cars we've had in the American history, period. Okay, I mean, even in the what was it in the movie we just not just watched, but it was back in Christmas Vacation. Okay. They were making a joke in the movie that their old, like 3-year-old Taurus is the old little Griswold mobile. A 3-year-old car was considered old and clunky back in the 80s. Now, heck, I'm driving an almost 20-year-old, luxury boat. Why? Because it works. The heck are you going to buy anything now? And anything brand new is going to have, a whole bunch of issues and problems. Okay, the automobile market right now is currently overpriced, overbloated, and it's horrible. You're getting terrible quality right now. It's unfortunate. It's unsad. Okay, and the same thing is going for the electric automobile market, because this is going to be the next thing that's going to be dropping like a rock here. And especially in the United States and in the West in general. Lucid Boss quits after company loses $300,000 for every car sold last year. This is probably like the closest Tesla-ish competitor is Lucid Motors, and they're really well known because they have one of their cars goes like 0 to 60 in like 1.9 seconds. It's stupidly insane. I mean, how insanely fast it is. I mean, it's cool, but I mean, after a while, I mean, yeah, $300,000, net losses of $3 billion. Okay, so the electric car market is doing pretty terribly in the United States as a whole. In fact, things are really changing, and it's going to get worse. Okay, and it's not just because of tariffs. Okay, we said this. Every time I see one of these darn things with rubber duckies on them, I want to flip it. Okay, I am secretly training in the gym. Okay, I'm training my bench press and my deadlifts so I can flip over Jeeps with rubber duckies in them. Okay, because these things overpriced, underpowered, and probably going to break. I mean, Jeep as a whole, an American brand, and Jeeps used to be good, and you can find a lot of cool CJ era Jeeps or some of the older Jeeps, good cars. Yeah, newer Jeeps, pretty terrible. In fact, they've had one of the worst ratings for, I think, like consumer ratings in America for a car company, like the lowest. Okay, and it's going to be even worse in 2025. Will be a historically bad year for 3-year-old cars. Okay, that 2022. That's the thing. Used cars are going to be. There's going to be less used cars now because nobody were buying the 2022. So the car market's going to get even worse, because that's just catching up. Okay, so all the COVID or COOF era stuff, I think we can say COVID now, whatever. I like saying COOF because COOF is funnier. Okay, all the COOF era silliness with the chip markets and the supply chain issues with getting the chips over and all the electronics. That's the thing. The more electronics you put into a car, the more complicated it gets. The more you're going to be reliant on a massively globalized economy and supply chain that with just a sneeze or a coof, pun intended, the whole thing comes crumbling down. And again, look at this. Average used car costs a more modest, look at that. Average price for a new vehicle was near $48,000. Does anybody have $50,000 to drop on a new car right now because that's the average going price right now. And there's very little cars underneath $20,000 new. In fact, you can't even find a used car for less than $20,000 now because an average used car is $24,000. Like, people are keeping their cars, they're fixing their cars. The market, I think the U.S. car market is done. It's cooked, and it's put itself in a corner, basically out of greed. Okay, all the issues that were talked about, in the past, because of cars for clunkers under Obama. Thanks, Obama. Cars for clunkers destroy the used car market, and a lot of good cars here in the United States that we'll never get back. Okay, a lot of good stuff too. A lot of good stuff was crushed. If you've seen the list of some of the cars that were crushed during Cars for Clunkers, it's pretty sad. It's pretty terrible. But the thing is, that and plus the basically giving failing companies like GM, the big government bailouts, that GM has still never paid. They have never, ever, and never will pay it. This is the problem when you start up. This is the problem. It's the government is not, unfortunately, in the United States, they're not doing what they need to do to be able to help companies or help help companies that can actually help the and give jobs for the nation. They're looking at just, let's just keep business going as usual. Okay, GM was a loser. They were making bad decisions, and unfortunately, they did not pay the price for it. Now the whole market. Fast forward. This is the problem when we're just thinking short term, and we're just trying to save companies from just going solvent because they're too big to fail. Now we get this issue. Now we get this problem because this is going to be the issue that we're going to be facing now. The whole car market has put itself in a corner out of greed, out of just silliness to go ahead and keep making models to just, for the lowest denominator of the market here. I'm sorry, this is not going to sell in 20 years. Nobody's going to want to buy an overpriced, overbloated, underpowered automobile. And things are changing rapidly now, okay? Because this is just what it is. Even Toyota is changing the way it's thinking. There's some EVs that are making it, but look at it. Smaller, more practical, okay? That's what they're looking forward to. And it's mostly, again, for the European market, okay? Here you go. Toyota specifies the vehicles in it are destined for the European market, offering no words on U.S. availability. The American market, and let's make this a little bit quicker. The American market is going to look a lot more like the European market sooner rather than later. Okay, there's going to be smaller automobiles, more practical automobiles. Okay, Karen does not need an overpriced $50,000 Jeep. That's an Alfa Romeo that's dressed up as a Jeep, giant ugly crossover to haul herself, and maybe a chicken dinner for her cat. Okay, that's not practical. That's silly, and that's not good for Karen either. Okay, that's a bad thing for Karen. Okay, we got to also look out for other people too, and bad decisions for other people are going to hurt everybody. Okay, it's not practical. Sometimes giving people absolute freedom to do every stupid bad decision hurts everybody else too. Okay, that has to be said. Okay, but look at this. These are more practical. And some of them are, there's the crossovers because it's kind of becoming a thing in Europe, but not as quickly, and they're clamping down on that really quickly that you're not having. But look at this. Here's something. Imagine this. The last vehicle Toyota talked about today, it's the FT-Me concept. Two-seater designed for folks with entry-level driving licenses in Europe. That's another thing they change in the United States is how we give out licenses like candy over here, okay? People who can barely see their hand in front of them, who have no situational awareness, are driving in the United States. It's scary. Allowing people as young as 14 to legally pilot it. There you go. That's cool. Toyota says it features a solar panel system that can supply as much as 18 miles of range in a day. That means, again, European cities are much more compact, so 14 miles is basically less than a commute most of the time. Again, these are concepts. This is probably not going to happen, but this is what the rest of the world is looking at. Okay, and speaking of the rest of the world, things are rapidly changing because, we forgot that there's a big, massive country across the Pacific that has really, really caught up in automotive manufacturing. And it's kind of our fault. BYD has eaten a massive chunk of, the electric halo car of the Americas, the Tesla. Okay? Tesla is having massive issues right now, in China particularly, but also around the world and in Europe where BYD is allowed to sell. Okay? Look at that. BYD global sales jumped 56% in the first 2 months. Okay? And if you look at the models that BYD is putting, they're not, they have some SUVs and stuff like that, but they're not really focusing on that. They're focusing on like minivans, smaller cars, that type of stuff. Now, trucks and SUVs are a little bit more, how do you put it? They're much more popular in China than, let's say, the United States, because China kind of likes to copy the United States in terms of opulence and in luxury, so they're kind of copying that, but they don't sell as much. These SUVs are mainly for the rich and powerful over in China. Not as, super rich and powerful, but you know what I'm saying, okay? People who make the equivalent of, let's say, let's say $200,000 here in the United States, probably even more than that. Let's say $500,000 in the United States equivalent over in China. They're probably buying that, but I digress. Anyway, look at that. BYD sales are doubling and everything. But I mean, look at how the Chinese car market has changed rapidly. They went from basically, because the way that China works is you had a lot of these joint ventures. So if, let's say Honda, for example, because this looks like a Honda Accord. That's a Honda Accord. I mean, even the interior. That looks like a Honda Accord. Okay. I mean, you could just change it to H and it looks like a Honda. But those joint ventures were basically used to jumpstart China. And they did the same thing with high-speed rail too, right? They took a lot of the German and Japanese designs. The German and Japanese companies were able to go ahead and do joint ventures within China. And all China basically did was, thank you for the help. In 5 years, we were able to build ourselves out. Now we're just going to steal all your technology and do our own. And this is basically what they've done with the automobile market. Look at how things have changed. Look at this. I mean, it's just incredible where they're going now. Everything is, giant, massive touch screens, and a lot of this stuff is kitschy and all this sort of stuff. I mean, you get it. Okay, it's Chinese interior design and automotive design is very much. I mean, look at this. This kind of looks like a McLaren. I mean, it looks nice. I mean, relative to the rest of everything else, I guess. But I mean, look at it. I mean, they used to copy. There was like a Rolls Royce copy that they had in China, like Geely or something like that. It was on Top Gear a long time ago, but now they're making their own stuff. Okay. Speaking of Tesla, okay, if you've ever driven a Tesla or you're familiar with what a Tesla looks like, wait a second. What does that look like? You wonder, somebody must be really ticked off about their technology being stolen, blatantly stolen, because this looks exactly like a Tesla, a Tesla Model 3 screen and everything else. This looks exactly like that. Okay, they basically copied it and like, yeah. So what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to a Chinese court? You're gonna win in a Chinese court? Oh, good luck, Elon. Yeah, go to Chinese court. Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably why he's ticked off. Let me change the hat over here. Let's change the hat. Oh boy. Yeah. It is a crappy version of a Tesla, bright line fan. Yeah, it's kind of funny how everything has changed over here. I mean, it is really silly how things are getting. But look at this. Here's the thing. And we've talked about a little bit about the muskrat, whatever you want to call it. Look, I have plenty of reasons to not like Elon Musk. I honestly, I'm just saying this, and I've said this before. I think the whole thing going on right now, I find it hilarious. I'm taking Schadenfreude in it. I really am. You know what? Why not? If he is going against the people that I don't like, against the regulations that I don't like, against the federal government that I think has been really bloated and overgrown, so what? He's a human wrecking ball, a human cannonball. Point him in that direction and let him go. But the minute he's pointed towards me, shut him down. Shut him down. Okay? Now, right now, he's pointed over there, and at some point, it probably will come back to us. But right now, take the opportunity as it is, because look, we're just kind of we're kind of poor young people over here, okay? We don't really have a voice. We don't really have much of a say or any sort of lobbying power of any sense of the word. So if he's doing the job for us, whatever, okay? He's ticked off at the way things are going in, and he's taking a chainsaw to the ground. I like that hat, by the way. I wonder where I've seen that before. It's funny. It's funny. Okay, I know people are gonna go ahead and look at this and cry, and you know what? You've had, and we've told you about this for so long. We told you exactly, and the government knows exactly what it needs to do. You haven't built and fixed our infrastructure. You haven't built and fixed our country because you didn't want to. And now it's coming after you. Now the same government that you've weaponized against us is now being weaponized against you. Oh well, we told you. We pleaded with you. We begged you to go ahead and do the right stuff. To do what was moral and what was right, to go ahead and build our infrastructure. You knew it for years that our infrastructure, and I'll just stick on infrastructure because forget everything else. Everything else is basically a crapshoot and it's terrible, okay, within the United States, okay? But speaking just on infrastructure, you knew for years that it was a D-. You knew it was failing. I'm talking to everybody who was in the federal government that's now getting whacked. Welcome to what has happened to us in the private sector multiple times. I've been laid off multiple times because of immorality and because of stupidness and silliness and greed within companies. Okay? And now that it's happening to you, oh freaking well. Okay? That's enough. Okay? So he's coming to go ahead and take, you know, we've told you multiple times what you need to do. We voted. Like in California. Speaking of California again, the citizens there voted for high-speed rail. And the government, it's basically refused to build it. It's at this point, it makes no sense. They refuse to build it. You know what? If it goes after you, oh well. Somebody else should go ahead and build it, not you. Somebody else will build it. Okay? I mean, and now it's hurting his own company. Okay? Which, I mean, there's a lot of things that are hurting Tesla. I mean, right now. Okay? It's, again, you have BYD. And all the Chinese companies are basically stealing Tesla technology, and look, you have a 1.2 billion people in China. Okay, a lot of them now are being able. And look, speaking of China, China has massive amounts of high-speed rail. They have massive amounts of roads too, and a lot of people now have driver's licenses and are driving in China. You think, especially with the amount of nationalism that they have in China, are they going to pick their own, they're going to pick Tesla, or are they going to pick their own automobile maker? Let's think about that. Think about that real quickly. So yeah, it's hurting Elon, and it's going to hurt a lot of companies. Like I said, this is what it is. Okay, and here we go. This is what I was trying to say before. One issue is how do you get an economy addicted to government deficit spending off this drug? Another issue is how do you get corporate America addicted to cheap labor overseas off this drug? The U.S. has two huge structural deficits, the fiscal deficit and the trade deficit in manufactured goods, aka the twin deficits. Both are massive long-term problems that need to be addressed by sending the economy and corporate America into detox, as this is now called, but it's going to ruffle some feathers, especially of stocks. If everybody's complaining about the stocks, oh no, the Dow dropped to 42,000. What was it like 10 years ago? What was it like, 30? Remember, like during Trump, when like it went to 30,000, everybody was like, "This is a new record, 30,000 for the Dow." Oh no, it went down to 41. Okay, by summer it will be back to 43. It will be a new record! Yay for the stocks! Does anybody else here? Anybody here feel like they're Dow rich right now? That they're 42,000 up or whatever? Anybody? No, I didn't think so either. Okay. It's what it is. Okay, so the 401ks go that, yeah. Think again, not just the 3 months, long-term picture. Okay, a little disturbance, we're okay with that. Yeah, look, this is okay, like this is what happens to durable goods, the price level during Trump tariffs. Not much. Okay. Like I said, this economy is in turn, it needs a paradigm shift now. Like, yeah, not even now. It needed it like 20 years ago. But we'll take today. We'll take it. Okay? And yeah, look, here's the problem with the federal government. Because the economy was so bent and so reliant on federal spending, there were a lot of fake jobs and a lot of fake contracting jobs, or anything that was a company that was contracted by the federal government. Okay, that's going to be affected by this. Okay, there's a lot of stuff, and unfortunately, it's what's going on, because the reason why layoffs are happening, okay, is because the economy and the government itself steered the ship into a bad area. Okay, just like the car companies have. Okay, you put yourself into a point because you were thinking on 3-month intervals. You kept thinking of quarter intervals rather than what's the big long picture that we need for stability. And this is what happens. 250,000 people laid off. So those of you out there right now who have been looking for a job, and I know a couple of you guys there that have been looking ever since you got out of college, years ago, looking for a job, you may want to take a break right now, because there are a lot of people out there with a lot of padded resumes, okay, and a lot of revolving door contacts that they're going to get themselves into something else, okay? It's getting worse, okay? But it's going to get better once this whole thing shakes off, because unfortunately, again, this is what it is. The economy needs a detox. That's what it is, okay? And, well, Elon's kind of paying the price for it. I mean, this is what happens. You tick off a whole lot of people who've been working in the, cushy government job, not really performing that well, and they're losing their minds. Of course, he's saying that this is about terrorism or whatnot. Hey, buddy, look, this is the game. Get ready, get ready. This is the game you wanted to play, and this is what's happening. Okay, sucks. And the good thing is that nobody was in these Teslas, because whenever there's some sort of Tesla fire and the locks melt, oh man, yeah, it's a fate worse than hell. Oh man, it's yeah. Things are changing. Speaking of things that are on fire, Boeing seeks Plan B after fire destroys key suppliers' plant. This is why we need to start building more here in the United States. All right, I will get to you guys pretty soon enough. I'm on a roll here. I'm trying to get through the stuff that I was trying to pass through last week. I promise you guys by 8. I'm gonna say 8:15. We're gonna open up the phone lines, but there's a lot of stuff I need to cover over here. Okay, and this is the good stuff. This is the good stuff that we're getting into right now, okay? This is long-winded. I know. I get it. I told myself I'm going to try 45 minutes this time. It's not looking that way. We've already passed the 45-minute mark, but let's get to this real quickly, okay? So, yeah, Boeing. Because why? Look, oh, wait a second. Equal in size about 10 football fields. The factory operated by Berkshire Hathaway Company. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm not gonna get into that, because that's gonna be a whole other thing. But when I see that, it's like, oh boy, yeah, I bet you they're leaving screws and nails all over the place. They're not really looking at they're looking to cut costs as much as possible. I can guarantee you that. And then something went on fire and just conflagrated the whole entire facility. Okay, but hey, the airline industry hasn't been doing well at all. Spirit has gone through a Chapter 11. Now they're coming back. Southwest Airlines pissed off everybody because now they're saying they're going to be charging for check-in luggage. Boeing can't seem to figure themselves out. In fact, well, hey, look at this. Look who just came back because of not thanks to Boeing. Because Boeing basically left them up there in space. There you go. Butch and Sunny are back, thankfully. I love space sci-fi and all that sort of stuff, and space fantasy, but I do not ever want to go into space in my lifetime. I don't. It sounds like hell. Please, no. I don't. It's like, look, this is somebody who like stuff like Gundam and stuff like that. I don't want to go to space. Okay, I've seen what happens to colonies when they get dropped onto continents. No, I don't want to go into space. No, I'll stay right here. I'll stay right here on the firmament. Okay, unless I have to fly within the atmosphere. That's it. Okay, I don't want to go into space. Not the way it is. Okay, but look, because of that, and because of everything else with the airline industry and the automobile industry, people are finally going back to the train. Okay? In fact, there are states that are still looking and they want service. Okay? Like every state outside of Hawaii and Alaska. Alaska has its own railroad, the Alaska Railroad. Hawaii, I mean, do they really need Amtrak? I mean, they have their own little railroads, but it's not there's really no need for Hawaii to have that. Okay? The only two states that right now don't have rail, Wyoming and South Dakota. There you go. They do not have Amtrak. Okay, they want to bring it back. It was discontinued back in 1983 and 1997, but at some point they may be coming back. Okay, but here's the problem right now. Okay, and if we talked about this, the thing is that Amtrak, they're trying to now operate themselves akin to a private company, but they still have a lot to catch up to. A lot of the services they run are these throughway buses. They're basically they basically contract Greyhound. I'm not kidding. That's basically what it is. A special bus line operated by Amtrak. No, they just contract Greyhound. Okay. For example, most service in Wisconsin, Tennessee, Kentucky is made up of connecting services which are separate from year-round passenger trains. And this is kind of our problem, is that we're very lacking in passenger rail. Okay. In fact, I've talked about this here in the who's your state? Who's your state here? So why can't we take really this is the problem with a lot of people, particularly in some places like the Midwest and everywhere else that's not the Northeast, or some places like in California. Some of the Midwest is very well connected around the Chicagoland area or Chicago over to Milwaukee and some other places, but the rest of it, like especially in Indiana, Ohio, and much of the rest, like of course Wyoming, I don't really consider Midwest. South Dakota is kind of considered Midwest, but that's like the furthest most. No, Wyoming's definitely not the Midwest. But here's the problem, and I've talked about this before. Okay, once the great state of Indiana, because they can give grants to private railroad companies, but they can't give grants to Amtrak. Yeah, the problem with that, to get from Indianapolis to Chicago, which should be a very busy railroad. It should be. Yeah, the only choices I have is basically a Greyhound, and I went over, this is just a screenshot. You can get a Greyhound bus that departs at 5:15 a.m. in the morning. Gets there 3 hours and 40 minutes at 7:55 a.m. $51. Okay. Or you can take the Cardinal, which departs at 6 a.m. Okay, still bleary-eyed, but a little bit better. You're going to be on that train for 5 hours. Now, why? The trains are obviously faster than buses. Why does it take 5 hours? Gets there at 10 a.m. Oh, wait, and that's, $51 for the coach bus and $43 for the coach seat, or a private room for $209. So that's a problem that Amtrak really needs to catch up with, okay? Because the thing is that people want more transit, okay? Here's a op-ed from Mass Transit. Cities must rethink public transit investment priorities amid national transport issues, okay? Because now you have the World Cup coming up. You have the Summer Olympics coming up. You guys have talked about that, okay? The problem is, here's the thing. America's public transit shortcomings will be on display and likely result in further congestion for the whole cities, okay? Because whenever there's been, let's say in Paris or in Tokyo or any of these other places that have hosted the Olympics, they haven't really had that much problems. In fact, a lot of people who went there said, oh yeah, the transit was great. Everything was great. It's so easy to get around. Oh, for people visiting the United States. Oh boy, I hope you have your national or Avis points saved up, because you're gonna need to rent a car, and you're gonna have fun driving around Los Angeles. Oh yes indeed. But yeah, look, people want more, and here's the thing. Ridership has been increasing nationally, and more of us want transit. Okay. 40% of Americans surveyed said they spent at least an hour on public transit per week. However, despite its ubiquitous in daily life, almost half would give their city's public transit a grade C or below. Again, we go back to the way governments are. It's an example. They don't want to fix it. They don't want to build it. It's as easy as that. Okay? People want to go on a local bus. People want to go on a local train. They feel either afraid or they feel like it's not going to be convenient at all because most of the times they're late, and they don't trust their city's government. There you go. They want to go on transit. They want more transit. We would want to have more we want to have more transit, but we don't trust the government's authorities that are running those transit industries. That's just what it is. There you go. That's the report. This is not me saying this now. This is what's going on. Okay? This is why New York City, why people are all so upset about the congestion pricing. It's not about the congestion pricing. It's about the choices that they're basically being forced to. Is spend more because you're forced to basically go into a car because you have no other choice. Because the other choice is going on the subway, which in other countries, if you're in Singapore, going on a subway is fine. If you're in Hong Kong, going on a subway is fine. If you're in Tokyo, you're not going to get stabbed. Some European cities, I mean, Moscow's still safe. I mean, I have to go that far east because London, not so much. Foggy London town used to be very safe, but not so much either. But again, this is the same problems that we've been facing in the United States for decades. Okay, this is the problem. San Francisco's facing a deficit of $322 million next year. Where's the money going? And then they're now asking you that they want a half-penny tax. And we talked about that half-penny tax. We don't have to talk about it too much. Why? Why do we need more taxes if the money that you spent so far is not getting the results that have been requested? Okay? Look at that. 64% of Americans have experienced a public transportation disruption. Okay? Imagine seeing those numbers in Japan. They'll freak out if for the Japanese visitors that are going to be visiting Los Angeles. Oh boy, that's like Paris syndrome. Remember hearing about that, where Japanese who were visiting Paris were so distraught and so horrified by what the reality of Paris has become versus what they've seen in media and fiction that they have to have a Japanese phone line to basically talk to tell them like the safest places to go to in Paris or whatever. That's a real thing. Okay, America is not so far away from that. In fact, we've been in it a lot more than European cities have. Okay, just Europe has now just taken itself into sevenfold of what we're doing, but it's not good. But yeah, look, people want more transit. Our generation wants more transit, okay? Because right now the alternatives are basically burning or burning. Yeah. So, but look, here's the thing. Speaking of China, okay, and again, the BRICS, we know, we get it, okay? But here's the thing, and I've told this before multiple times, okay? Everybody's gonna say China's building ghost cities. They're just building stuff, and it's not nobody's living in them. Well, first of all, there are things that they are building that people are using and living in. Second of all, they're using their debt to build whatever cities and whatever the heck they want. If they want to go ahead and build a 600 people populated full scale version of Paris, which they have, okay, but guess what? They built it. In our country, what are we doing? We're letting our cities turn to ghost cities. Have you seen Gary, Indiana lately, or any of these other, any of the former, why do we have to call it the Rust Belt? Okay, this used to be the Midwest used to be the economic powerhouse, the economic center of the country, the manufacturing center of the country, and now it's called the Rust Belt. Why do we have to be a has-been? We can just build stuff. We can just do it, okay? Okay. Now we're holding up a gerontocratic financial system, okay? Because unfortunately, it's for helping what? For helping what? To keep everybody's to keep the grift going in BlackRock and all the financial institutions. That's great, but guess what? We're trying to help the old people too, because it's sad. And like look at this. You guys have seen stuff like this. An 80-year-old woman delivering DoorDash using a cane could barely walk up the stairs, but obviously she needed the money. Okay, and I've said this too. It's very much we're in a bad state in this country, when I have to go to Meijer or Walmart and I'm seeing an old person that should be, a grandpa or grandma that should be at home with like grandkids or watching TV or baking a pie or something that grandparents should be doing. Not at a Walmart hunched over, barely eking out at welcome to Walmart. I mean, it's sad. It's very sad to see that. We need to be doing better. Okay, and unfortunately, look, for always talked about boomers, there's a difference between baby boomers and boomerism. Okay, boomerism is stuff like I've seen in this comment over here. This country is built on her right to make them fail and start over, which she's doing right now. We have no idea if she chose to have kids. We have no idea how she treated them. We have no idea if she's addiction to gambling or alcohol, drugs, or whatever. Okay, look, that's a point too. Okay, a lot of baby boomers, and fortunately. And I'm very fortunate, and people who do have good parents and good, parents who happen to be baby boomers, you guys are very lucky because there is a lot of people, especially my, Gen X and millennials, and some Zoomers that have baby boomer parents. You got to believe it. There are some Zoomers that have baby boomer parents, okay, because they had them kind of late in life, but they're pretty bad to their kids, okay, or they'd be willing to go ahead and spend for another vacation or another RV or another toy car or whatever, rather than helping their kids out. Okay, there's a lot of that. Okay, and it's not just anecdotally. There's a lot of information, a lot of statistics that point that out. But a lot of the other baby boomers have been screwed over by their, boomer infected baby boomer cohorts that have basically stepped on them. Okay, the less fortunate baby boomers who are now, again, like this poor woman. Again, we don't know what's happened in her life, but let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's say she's done everything right, and the economics have basically screwed her over. Which a lot of baby boomers right now, they're going to end up homeless. A good number of them, because they basically got economically screwed over, like the rest of us. Okay, again, unfortunately, if you think of it this way, like the baby boomer generation, in a sense, has become like a bucket of crabs, where the ones at the top are going to be stepping on the ones at the bottom. It's very sad. Okay, so we're trying to help everybody here, because look, it'd be a lot better. And you see in China, some grandmother that can go ahead and go on a subway. Okay, and I'm pretty sure the I don't know what you say grandma in Chinese. I mean, I know in Japanese is bachan or obachan. But look, let's say the Chinese bachans don't have to worry about getting stabbed or robbed on a train. Okay, does it happen in China? Yeah, but out of 1.2 billion people, a lot less frequently than, let's say, just New York City or just Chicago. Just a American city alone probably has more crime, more violent crime than China. Okay, look at that. Okay. I'm sorry, it's and you see them. They can go into parks and go do their tai chi and all that sort of stuff that they do. It's better. Look, it's better for the old people. It's better for the young. We need to be building cities, and towns and be able to self-sustain ourselves, which is what China has done. While we've basically our government and our companies has sold us out. Okay, us the guys who are watching this, and most of you all out there. It's not your fault. You've done everything that you try to do, that you were told to do. Okay? Like the bucket of crabs analogy. And the baby boomers who were screwed over by their own baby boomer cohort. Okay? We were screwed over. It's as simple as that. Okay? But we can start changing things. Okay? Things can start changing. All right? Things will start changing. We have to start building. Okay? Because right now in California and in Nevada, you have Brightline that's going on and building, and in fact, it's doing so well. Okay, from what we've seen in Florida. Okay, this is just an article that just came out in the Daily Mail. Okay, my future mother-in-law sent me this. How a sleepy Florida tourist spot, once dismissed as the wrong side of the tracks, became a booming metropolis. Now, they're talking about West Palm Beach, like back in the 1890s. It was the wrong side of the tracks, and then it quickly became a boom town. Once Flagler went there and developed it. I'm not going to get into the whole history of it because there's a whole lot of nuance or whatever in there. I'm not going to get into it. But look at this. Again, into this article, they're talking about how West Palm Beach has been like a tech boom. New opportunities drawing millennials and Gen Z professionals to the area. There you go. Perfect mix of work, lifestyle, and investment potential, which is why younger generations are making the move. Okay, now, West Palm Beach, for those of you who know, it's kind of expensive. And by I mean kind of expensive, I'm very, anyway, but look at what they're talking about. There you go. Better commute, Brightline. High-speed rail provides an easy commute to both Miami and Orlando. Look at that. They're talking about it. Okay. Now, this is getting to investors, and people are talking about this sort of stuff, and they're saying, wow, this long term, the smarter investors are looking at this and saying, well, this is going to be a great thing for the economy. Okay. We should start and invest into this in other places too, which is what's going on, because for Brightline West, look at this. Private activity bond sale far exceeded expectations, signaling investor confidence in the Las Vegas to Southern California high-speed rail project. The company, which has plans to start heavy construction of its 218-mile line this year, is getting in place financing for $12 billion for the $12 billion project. First step was Brightline selling a combined $2.5 billion in private equity bonds, very similar to private activity bonds in Florida that we helped to go ahead and make that happen. But there you go. They got a $3 billion grant from the FRA. And guess what? Guess what? He's not taking it away. He's not. He's not. Look, he can probably see it from his house in Mar-a-Lago. Okay? Do you think he's going to screw over a company in his own state? He's not going to do that. He isn't. Okay? Let's take it into the most selfish way possible, the most selfish perspective possible. Why would he want to go ahead and financially mess up a company from his own state, which he probably has some stake into, right? Let's think of it that way. Okay, if you want to be so cynical about it, think of it the most cynical way. He probably doesn't want to. He's not going to touch the same thing that Rick Scott didn't touch Brightline. Mainly because they were probably invested in as well. That's the same thing. But look at this. Okay. Brightline West has full environmental clearance. Done. California's still figuring this out for their high-speed rail. Brightline is moving heaven and earth to go ahead and make this happen as quickly as possible. Why? Because, well, part of it is because if it's a private company, so it has to make those numbers and it has to make that money. Okay. Now, those investors know it's going to take a little bit longer than, let's say, a tech company. But they're putting this as a long-term hedge. That's what they're kind of using it for. Again, I'm thinking this in a more cynical manner. I wish we didn't have to think in a more cynical manner, but there we go. Okay, expected to create more than 35,000 jobs, including 10,000 plus union construction jobs. Once operational, the project will include approximately 1,000 jobs, and that's for operations. Labor agreements with the California Southern Nevada Building Trades for project construction and the High Speed Rail Labor Coalition to operate and maintain the system. There you go. Look at that. Okay, and there's more in California that's getting, that kind of building. Okay, but imagine if we can build a heck of a lot faster, right? Imagine, look at this. This is in the Netherlands. Building a tunnel under a highway in less than 48 hours. Okay, now they're using the box jacking method, which we've seen Brightline do in Orlando. That took them, if I remember correctly, 2 weeks. I know I'm not looking at the comments. I know I'm not looking at Discord. I'm kind of going on a binge here, so give me a little bit here. And I've been talking for a good hour or so. Man, just keep going, I guess. I haven't even drunk any of this, but there we go. Like I need the sugar. But anyway, look at that. 48 hours. Imagine doing this in the United States. Okay, well, we're going to do phase 1 is going to start in the spring, and we're going to have a $2 million grant to get that. Then by the winter, we can be able to start phase 3. And then by 2042, we'll be able to go to phase 47, which we have allocated our funds to go ahead and build, and then we will be completed by 2052. No, you can build this and look at that. This would take any state. Indiana, Florida, wherever else, Texas, California. I forget California. But anyway, this would take any, even the better states that can build stuff. Okay, let's say Texas, Indiana, Florida, whatever. Some of the more, the more business friendly states, the more conservative states. Okay, it'll take them 2 years, 48 months, rather than 4 in the Netherlands. They're building this at the speed of Max Verstappen over here. Look at this. And notice how many cranes and how many earth movers and how much heavy construction equipment that they have. Look at that. And look at that one. Wait, let me see if I can pause it. Wait, there was like a whole lot over here. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, and they're building it day and night. They're not just stopping. Oh, we have to. The union told us to stop for 8 hours. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I see seven heavy equipment, like across a 2-mile stretch of whatever, BS highway, that's a lot. Look at what they're doing. Look at that. We can do the same thing here. We can just build it. Okay. Look, this is a winner. There's more people moving into the Brightline stations. Look at that. Look at all the stuff you can build that. Look at that. Cool stations that we can build here. We can do that here. We've done it. It's a matter of just build the darn thing. Okay? And we talked about this before. There's a housing boom and new developments along. Again, it's not just about the train. It's about transit-oriented development and about making sure that you have long-term stability for the Americans. And this is what we're talking about over here. This is it. This is it. This is what we need. Just build it. If look at that, communist Europe. For all we make fun of it now, you can't say a tweet in Europe and you'll get arrested. But hey. They can do a box jack tunnel within 48 hours. We can do the same thing here. Not putting people in jail for tweets, but I mean we can go ahead and do this. Why not? We can have both. And by both I mean we can have freedom of speech and building stuff in 48 hours. All right, my second to last section. This is what we're going to get into right now, guys. Texas. I know you guys have been talking about Texas. Let's put on the cat I got from Oklahoma, because Oklahoma's more Texas than Texas. We'll get to that. Because, well, what's going on here in Texas? Well, it's a step forward, but they're having a massive problem. And I mean a Texas-sized problem at that. There is a major Texas developer that's fighting the bullet train plan. Now, who could this major developer be? Who could this be? Well, it's a Dallas-based Hunt Realty Investments. One of the companies controlled by businessman Ray Hunt and his family has sent multiple letters to the North Central Texas Council of Governments to opposing one of the proposed routes. Why? Well, I'm pretty sure, let me see, Hunt Realty, they're probably going to be building a whole bunch of these, let's see, a whole bunch of these crappers all over the place, because that's what Dallas needs, more sprawl, right? Well, it gets a little bit more insidious than that, because Ray Hunt is a prominent businessman and developer in Texas, known for his leadership in Hunt Realty Investments and Hunt Consolidated. It gets better, folks. He has played a significant role in shaping the developmental landscape of Dallas and the surrounding areas. Hunt Realty Investments have been involved in major projects like the Hunt Reunion development, blah, 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 blah. Wait. His family has a long history in the oil and gas industry, with Hunt Oil Company being a cornerstone of their business empire. Now, again, it's Texas. I get it. There's a lot of guys and a lot of folks who made their money off of oil. I get it. That's great. But I went ahead and asked Bing AI this. And, I'm just going back and forth between... I used Bing AI because it was what was there. And I said, you know what? Let me just use that because why not? And I said, interesting. Wasn't there another prominent Texas businessman and now politician? Speaking of gerontocracy, look at these are the boomers who are screwing over the other boomers, folks. Okay, look at that. Look at that. Okay, wouldn't it be easier for Grandma to be able to ride a train rather than being forced into a Chevrolet Suburban to go ahead and drive all the way down from Dallas to Houston? What would be better for Grandma? Okay, but look at this. Interesting. Wasn't there another prominent Texan businessman and now politician with ties to the oil industry who was against the project? Wasn't that Ben Lehman? Yes, indeed, a notable figure in Texas, blending business and politics. He co-founded Merrimack Manufacturing, an oil and gas company, which he later sold after growing it significantly. Yeah, he was one of these guys that he started a business in his garage. What it means I started my small business of making oil and gas equipment in my garage. Yeah, sure. Okay, here in my garage. Yeah, I believe that. Lehman then transitioned into public service, serving as a Grimes County judge, which screwed over the Texas Central Railway. Let me see. And then the stupid AI, and this is the reason I wanted to keep it. I couldn't find specific information of his opposition to the bullet train project. Okay, here you go. Oops, it becomes clear that Texas Central simply does not have financial resources required or expertise employed to continue the project. State lawmakers, led by State Representative Ben Lehman. Let's see. Lehman, a longtime critic of the project, which rural residents have assailed as a boondoggle that will ruin the Texas countryside. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, but yeah, sure. I couldn't find specific evidence. What is this? What is this? Yeah, you know what? Here you go. Wait. Just to make this worse, I found specific evidence. Let's see. You're absolutely. I hate the way these things talk. They talk like somebody from Reddit. You're absolutely right. Get out of here. Get out of here, robot. Spill oil. Spill oil. There you are. I gotta get back to Helldivers 2 at some point and start destroying some clankers. Oh boy. But yeah, look, this is the problem that we're dealing with, guys. It's these silly, ridiculous, frickin' calm down, Demetrius. Calm down. Okay, but yeah, look, we got to start building stuff over here, guys. And look, it's gonna be an uphill battle, but it's gonna get easier. Once we have pillows. We have pillows over here. The pillow. Dave, the pillow. You can't come soon enough. Forget baseball bats. We're just gonna need the. Anyway, I'm just. Oh man, look, everything is said in jest, guys. Come on, we don't condone any sort of violence or anything like that over here. But yeah, look. Speaking of stocks and stuff like that, and short-term thinking, even Deutsche Bank eyeing industrial rebound. Look, if they're looking at it. And Deutsche Bank tends to be a little bit more long-term committed than, let's say, most of the American investment firms. Although, I mean, they're at this point, there's probably enough Americans and American money in Deutsche Bank to make it like an American investment firm. But I digress. Anyway, it eyes industrial rebound, endorses these transportation stocks. So there you go, guys. If you really wanted to, if you're sad about your Dow going down 2,000 points, oh well. If your 401k is in a dump. Follow this. There you go. Telling you to go ahead and buy. Let me see what the stocks are saying here. I think I just, there you go. Here you are. Included railroads, Norfolk Southern. I mean, they can only go up at this point, right? I guess. Union Pacific. There you go. Both of which are favorably impacted by an industrial recovery, while railroads are favorably impacted by industrial recovery. Who could have known? Broker C.H. Robinson, parcel carrier FedEx. Because I think we're getting away from the USPS at some point, right? Look at that. Old Dominion Freight's there. Forget Yellow Corp. Saya opened 21 terminals, located 9, part of the 28 terminal portfolio acquired from bankrupt Yellow Corp. If you remember what happened to that, one of the biggest trucking companies in the country went to Chapter 7. Not even Chapter 11. They went to Chapter 7. They completely liquidated. They're gone. So yeah, there you go. A whole lot of companies you can go ahead and fix your 401k if you're down on the dumps. That the stock price went down and you're not looking at the big picture. Well, here you go. There you go. Fix it that way. But speaking of ways that we can fix things, I've talked about private-public partnerships plenty of times. And look at this. Here in our own Midwestern backyard, Milwaukee Airport building facility to lure cargo from Chicago area. A public-private partnership works to attract airlines as a build speculative warehouse. And guess what? Guess when they're going to build it? It's not going to be built in 2030, billion or whatever it is. It's going to be built in, if I can find it, it was 2020 something. It was within the decade. Let's put it that way. Great. I'm looking all over the place over here. Let me see. Help me. 20, let me see. Oh, wait, look at that. Completion 2026. Sorry if I scared you with screaming there, but yeah, look at that. A privately held real estate investment development firm with $33 billion of assets under management managing the Air Logistics Center in exchange for a 50-year ground lease. The facility, estimated to cost $80 million, will have high ceilings, wide open areas, facilitate storage and sorting, 68 truck doors, stalls for 75 trailers, and is scheduled for completion in 2026. So by next year. Gee, I wonder why they have to move that quickly. Now, it's not to mean that public-private partnerships are the end-all be-all. Public-private partnerships could be the best of both worlds or the worst of both worlds. It can go any way. Again, it comes down to, do we have moral people in charge? It's less to do with the system and more to do who's behind the tool. Okay? But here in the United States, and the reason why Brightline is doing so well, and they're going, they're doing better, Brightline is technically operating as a public-private partnership. And you think about it, they've gotten federal assistance, federal grants, public activity bonds. So, yeah, this is technically a private-public partnership. Whereas in California, yeah. But you get the gist, guys, okay? And this is, we just got to build stuff, okay? Because, it's nice to think of plans and stuff like that. Like, we saw this, somebody showed this on the club. Midtown Group outlines grand plan to expand Penn Station, restores former glory lost over 60 years ago. Look, it'd be nice. It's better than having that absolutely god-awful, absolutely abhorrent, just disgrace to humanity and everything good, Madison Square Garden as it stands today, rather than, they destroyed the old Penn Station. I mean, come on, there's nothing for that. But they're going to try to or this is a rendering, okay? It's more renders, it's more 3D CGI, we get it, okay? I don't really dig the mixture of modern and old school architecture, but it's better than what's there right now in Penn Station, which is absolutely horrific. But this is better, right? But look, we need less of these plans, just more of just build it, just build the darn thing, okay? Because here's a good way of building it. Look at that, Via Rail Canada. It's I know Canada's not doing so well right now, but look, using apprenticeship programs to further transit development. Now, I wish this room, and there's probably maybe more people in this room, but this should be like a whole high school. A whole high school class can, take it and just say, hey, we're going to apprentice you instead of having to go to college and paying an overpriced college tuition that is going to be forever to pay off, if ever. Why don't we take you to go ahead and have, let's say, a career that's going to be stable into building railroads or into managing or operating in a railroad. If we could have more of that or more manufacturing here in the United States, we need more manufacturing, of course, and that's probably going to be the foundation of everything before we even start to go ahead and start building a whole bunch of railroads. But again, the whole point is we need to start building and promoting our own. That's what we need to do. Okay, and I think this is something that aligns with us more or less politically. I think, honestly, like I've said before, guys, we're on the way there. And, the reason why we talk about this so much is, well, because
we live here.
that's going to be the answer to everything, because we live here. There we go. Alrighty, guys. Last thing, and then we're going to go into comments, and I'm going to stop talking. So, if you guys remember Speed, the movie with Keanu Reeves, Speed was actually a remake of this Japanese film called Bullet Train Explosion, which is now being remade, and the trailer just came out. It's literally called, in English, Bullet Train Explosion, which is it's Speed. It's basically Japanese Speed for you guys that haven't followed. I have one of these E5 Shinkansen. There you go. By the way, if you guys haven't seen Shin Godzilla, this looks a lot like Shin Godzilla, but it's instead of Godzilla. By the way, I love Godzilla. By the way, those movies are pretty fantastic. And Shin Godzilla, which is funny enough, directed or partly produced by Hiroyuki Ando, the guy who created Evangelion. So yeah, it's very Evangelion-like. But Shin Godzilla is good. But this is basically something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's Japanese Speed. Okay, it's what it is, Japanese. We should do like an ARC movie night. But all right, guys, let's end it there. Put a nice still of the train. There we go. Explosive device has been planted on the Hayabusa numbers. Maybe that's not okay. Maybe let's not have that one there. Let's see. Oh boy. Okay, I don't think I can get a good still from here. Uh, Here, we'll just leave Trump on there, just staring at everybody. All right, guys. All righty. All righty. Okay. All right. Wow. Wow. Okay, 21 viewers right now. Okay, that's good. That's good. We're doing good, guys. All right. You know what? I'm gonna do something fun. I'm gonna bring everybody with their hands up, and it's gonna be chaotic, but it's gonna be funny. Everybody with their hands up. We're gonna do a round table. Okay. I'm gonna try this. I'm probably gonna be regretting it, but I'm gonna try it. Everybody at the same time who has their hands up in the Discord is coming in. All right. So there we go. I'm just bringing everybody. There we go. I'm gonna hear a whole bunch of screaming. Start the read. There you are. There we go. All right, guys.
Oh,
In here.
where do I begin? So, I'm going to make this clear, ARC. You were talking about the economy a little bit. How I like to word it. Trump hit the factory
There we
reset
go.
button.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, don't try. It is the factory reset button. That's a good way to put it. By the way, I'm gonna pour myself a pint of Guinness over here. No green beer. I hope none of you had green beer yesterday.
No, I don't. I'm not.
I don't
know. Thank
Actually,
goodness.
yesterday.
No green beer. Okay.
Dimitri, I have to use a VPN in my workplace just to get Discord to work and to get my live stream to work here at my workplace. I don't know what they did, but they changed something where I couldn't live stream or call you on Discord. I had to use a VPN. What is it? School? Am I right?
Man, I know. I remember when like schools had VPNs. We just found super easy ways to get around it, and then they just started getting worse and worse after that. But I mean, yeah, it's silly. But welcome. We're glad that you're here now. Everybody's here.
When you figured out the teacher's Wi-Fi passwords.
Oh, that was a game changer.
Well, my dad had an old ThinkPad from work that they just basically gave away to him. And I just used it as my own personal laptop. I was the guy that had the Halo on the memory stick that I just kept putting in every single library computer PC, so we could all play Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer. That was hilarious.
How many?
I was that dude.
They ever notice?
Yeah, I mean they tried shutting them down. Like you would see people's like PCs just like restart, like because the librarian was like getting wise to it because she just heard a whole bunch of clicking and just started shutting down PCs. But then we just started moving. It's like they couldn't. It's like a criminal operation. It's like at some point the criminals are just gonna move faster.
Getting really smart about it, too.
I am right now using a VPN to talk to y'all on Discord, and I'm using a VPN on my phone to live stream. So I'm right now using VPN on the phone I'm live streaming with, and on the phone I'm talking to y'all with Discord for I to be able to do this. Like it sucked because about 2 weeks ago I did not even need to use a VPN to live stream here at my workplace. Like now, I get the same stuff, and
Yeah, no, that's terrible. Dump Trumper, I think there's like some wind, or you got some mic noise coming in.
I got a fan.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, man.
Yeah, it's gotten hot here in the Midwest a lot quicker than it should be.
Yeah,
So.
it's got to 70, and it's gonna drop, and it's gonna rain tomorrow. So
Ah,
yay.
man. But
Yeah, I'm in the part
all right, guys.
Can we rename spring to fall, but the other way around?
Oh man, but yeah, guys. Let's talk about what I've gone over and all the stuff that's been going over in the last couple of weeks. Cause man, it's a lot.
Speaking of that, Dimitri, you got.
Speaking of that,
One at a
One
time.
at a time. One at a time.
Let me speak. Dimitri, did you get any of the articles I sent you a few hours ago?
Let me see. Yeah, I saw the Brightline one. In fact, I did put that in there, so we got that.
And the other ones that I gave you too. Like there were two other. One talk about the skyscrapers in downtown Miami that Brightline own,
Yeah, that one we talked about.
and also CPKCS on their Twitter.
Let's see. Let's put that up there. This site. There we go.
Wait, what's going on CPKCS?
Let me just read the tweet. CPKC and Patriot Rail will establish a new multi-commodity transload facility near Dallas, Texas that leverages our strategic land holdings to create additional connections, providing customers with more efficient and cost-efficient transportation services. Yeah, and this is a class 1. I mean, it's Canada Pacific, Kansas City, so yeah. I mean, look, there's rail industry and the industry in particular, like we just saw from Deutsche Bank. Okay, they're looking for an industrial rebound, which is going to happen. Okay, like Dump Trucker said, Trump's hit the reset button. We're going to see an industrial revival here in this country.
Dimitri, we're already seeing it here in my home city of Charleston, South Carolina, because they're now building a new intermodal rail facility at the naval port. The naval port, right in, it's about a 25-minute, less than 25 minutes, about 15 minutes from where I am right now. Like literally, I can literally go from 15 minutes from here to the new naval port. Like literally, the new naval port, they're building a new intermodal facility in. Plus, we're also building that new rail line to the Volvo plant up there in Goose Creek. So that's another expansion, Yeah,
no, I think now, and especially with the tariffs that are going to be in place, and with the reshoring efforts that are happening, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of these intermodals, a lot more short lines expanding, a lot more of these railroads just coming in, because that's the best way to move any sort of product.
It's really going to depend, because some places don't. Here, there isn't much of an industrial boom, just more warehouses. All right, great.
Speaking of that, I am going to bring that up. Like, we're seeing it right now in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont with the rail system that I talked about a couple of weeks ago, if y'all remember.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
I do.
Let's see. Is there anything? Who else hasn't spoken yet? Who needs a chance to speak?
Demetrius.
Go ahead.
In terms of Ireland, have you ever heard about Ireland, Ireland, Irish Rail?
Yeah, I posted a little bit of yesterday. It was the one from the Quiet Man.
Well, they're actually running not that late anymore. They got a very competent rail system throughout the major cities of Ireland with higher speed rail rolling stock.
Oh man, there you go.
In the same speed category as Brightline, for inner city and even suburban rail.
Hey, look, if they can do that, that's something.
Speaking of that, Demetria, I just sent you a meme in the live chat.
Okay, no more memes or spoilers, guys, because the last one, I have a queasy stomach after. I don't want to see that ever again.
It's a train one. It's a train one.
Alrighty. I've been Tri-Rail.
Like the privatization of Amtrak.
Yeah, 511 seconds to Tri-Rail somebody else. Well, I've Tri-Railed everybody who's watching now, so okay, you've all been Tri-Railed, so there you go.
I mean, I think I think privatizing Amtrak.
It's not a bad idea. That's what I heard on news. I'm not sure how that can help.
If we privatize the entire rail network, it could improve transit drastically.
Yeah. So Adam Everywhere just posted this article from the Daily Cost. So we kind of know where Daily Cost stands at, but it's just fun to look at anyway. Musk proposed privatizing of Amtrak has the stink of taxpayer ripoffs throughout railroad history. Yeah. And look, it's not to say that the railroads are all good or whatever. A lot of the terrible business practices that have been in the United States kind of started from the railroads. Okay, but still, here's the thing: the railroads basically built the industry and modernized America. Okay, that's just what it is. Now, as for Musk, I know everybody on the left has been freaking out, absolutely having a absolute fit.
Absolutely need to relax and
And we all talked about it last stream about the dark
Continue on
Amtrak.
Ireland.
stop
You
watching
see-
The View, stop watching
Have you
CNN.
ever heard about Transport 21 project?
No.
In a matter
No.
of like 7 years, the entire country was higher speed.
Huh. And now I got to look that up. What's it called? Project 21?
Transport 21.
Transport 21.
Well,
Okay.
There
Not,
was
not,
updating
not
it.
Project 2025.
on that topic of things going by fast, the problem we have here, especially in the northern states, is what we call the winter. And equipment just does not like to work.
I mean,
Yes,
I would
know
say
you felt it before.
I say yes and no when it comes to the winter, because you have places, and I was talking about this back when we got snowed in from a not even a snowstorm. It was just like basically a couple inches, but it took forever for the snow plows to get over here. And by the time I plowed out myself with a broken shovel through the snow that we had out there, it was more or less 3 o'clock. So it's like, forget it. I'm not going to be able to get to work anyway. So the thing is, like, you look at, well, look at Aomori, Japan, and that they get the most snow than any other city in the world. It's one of the snowiest cities on the planet, in that place in Japan. But they handle it better. It's just a matter of like, if you can prepare for it, you're fine. Either prepare to fail. So it has nothing to do with the snow. It just has to do with that, like here in the United States, yeah, we build our roads like garbage. They fall apart within 2 years. They fail to go ahead and do it, and then it'll take forever. They'll take 48 years to go ahead and rebuild the
How
roads.
much life they have.
Yeah.
Roads have years of life, but we built them, and we built those roads years ago, and now they have to replace said roads.
Yeah.
And what they do, instead of replacing it, what they'll do is they'll pour asphalt over the top of it and call it good. And
They did the same thing over here, but
they won't replace it unless a major change is going to happen.
Guys, I feel Minor Tree has something to say. Let's let him. Let's give him
when it comes to the roads itself, if you want a good asphalt road, it's gonna last 15 to 20 years before you need to replace it. Concrete about 30 to 40 years. So they're like, yeah, let's just put a Band-Aid on it, not actually address any issues under it, and then all of a sudden you realize there's a gangrenous wound under 15 layers of Band-Aids, and the whole system is falling apart because no one wants to be the one who tears it up and redoes it.
Yeah, that's probably the best analogy I've heard so far. Yeah, it's just a
There's
whole bunch of Band-Aids on the wound. That's hilarious.
They put one Band-Aid over the wound, and then they might tear it up, or they'll take off the old Band-Aid, pour a new Band-Aid.
Yeah, or you just do it right the first time, which is what we should be doing.
I don't know how that's going to help.
It has nothing to do with the money. I mean, look, we just saw like in the Netherlands, they can go ahead and box jack a whole entire tunnel underneath a highway in 48 hours. It's just a matter of just do it.
They prefab. They made that in a factory, and then they sent it out. I guess we don't do that here.
Well, the problem is you need competent leadership with a good plan ahead of time that then gets executed by highly trained individuals who each know their part. The only problem is we don't really have very good, highly trained leaders, and the ones we do have are either too old or they never taught the people under them to, when they retire, to take their place.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I was just about to say, throw competence out the window.
Yeah, it's part of the larger competency crisis in the United States, but it's like
whatever the blueprint says.
Yeah, but look, like we saw, like the apprenticeship program they're doing in Canada. Yeah, it's probably not going to be the best thing, but look, that's a good thing. You know, it's a step forward, and it's something we should be doing in a hell of a bigger number here in the United States, having some sort of apprenticeship or guild system here in the United States, rather than, because here's the problem with the unions, is like the unions are just basically there for haggling for a bigger pay. And like, yeah, there's some unions that do better than others, but the problem with the unions is that they're not looking out for, you know, they're not trying to advance the craftsmanship of their trade. That's the major problem. They're just trying to protect.
They've gone away from what they were intended to be: protect the employee from getting screwed over by the employer.
Collective bargaining. But it's gone into a fiefdom at this point. That's what it's become.
Today, unions have just become, give us more money, please.
Yeah, that's the big issue.
Ask, hear me out. How in the absolute hell do bureaucrats get unions? Riddle me that.
Yeah,
not bureaucrats. Unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah,
unelected ones especially. Unelected ones that I'm like, they have unions? What? And then yet, if
it's government-sponsored unions.
The problem here's the one problem that you have is that if you're getting paid at least $20 an hour, then there's a problem.
I think at this point, $20 an hour. It's like people who keeps talking for $15 an hour. It's like, yeah, $15 an hour made sense back in what, 2007?
It makes sense
at this rate with inflation and everything.
For a grocery store worker at Walmart, but if you're a hard laborer, you should be getting paid some compensation for the hard work you put in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. People shouldn't be people should be able to work one good job. They don't have to be worked to death. They don't have to go ahead and work a whole bunch of other jobs in a gig economy where they don't get any sort of benefits or anything like that. They should be able to afford a home. They should be able to afford a family. We can all agree on that. This is not hard. The problem is that it's easier.
Long days will pay,
but it's easier. It's easier for Uber to go ahead and not offer any of that. Look, Uber doesn't own any. Except for maybe a couple cars or some buildings here and there, they don't own any of the assets. It's not like a taxi company, which everybody was cheering back when Uber. That was the problem with Uber. It became a thing that was basically a tech bro version of commoditizing what was used to be taxis, but it became to a point where now we don't have any taxis. Now people don't really have any labor protections, and now you have to have like we talked about before, 80-year-old granny. Going ahead and door dashing because there's really no sorts of protection and the whole economy has turned into a gig economy with no protections. Okay? I mean, there's got to be a balance.
Yeah, there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
Demetrius, I got something super funny to say. You know the Facebook page group called Bullet Train USA?
No.
They are having a meltdown right now about Elon Musk. Talking about Amtrak should be private.
I know we talked about this last.
About that.
I know, but yeah,
Demetrius,
go ahead.
Fire under them because now they're
okay. ACB, Minor Tree, then Darius, go.
Demetrius.
ACB first. ACB, Minor Tree, Darius, go.
Okay, so I wasn't here last stream, but basically, what I remember hearing, members of Congress were levitating towards Brightline more than Amtrak, and because of that, it lit a fire under their teachers, and now is getting them to expand service. Eventually, in some corridors, it should be multiple trains a day because it shouldn't be like one train a day or hell. The Cardinal, it's once every sorry. It's like 3 times a week. I've written the Cardinal bit before. Nice scenic route through West Virginia, but it takes so freaking long. It takes so long, and it's only 3 days a week, even though they want to make it daily. But at some point, there needs to be investments for places in between to fill in for trains like that where you have additional frequency. And
that's true.
And you also advertise it. People will flock to the service. And just for the record, I'm not anti-car either. I test drove a freaking Tesla Model 3 high performance the other day. Not a bad car. I'm looking at cars, but I want balance in our nation's transportation system, not one way or the other. It has to be balanced.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you want to not want to stay one day. Okay, I don't want to take the car out. I want to go to, say, maybe Philly or a city that's 100 miles away from me. I can go through different means, get to my main train station, get there within under an hour or so, and just make a day trip out of it, and don't have to worry about a hotel accommodation for those. The last train's not until after 1 a.m., so I don't have to worry. Yeah. Something like that, like akin to a regional rail, but except it's frequent, and you don't have to worry about missing your last train.
No, it makes sense. Absolutely. Like when I went to Japan, Tokyo to Osaka, you could do that in a day with the Shinkansen. Have a whole day there and then come back and you're there back in Tokyo by midnight. Exactly like 11:59 p.m. I mean, it's just incredible. Exactly. If we could have that, again, about having options, it'd be fine. I want cars. I want trains. I want airplanes. We can have it. It's very simple to do it. We had it before. It's just a matter of, like, let's just do the right thing and let's just build it. Give people more jobs, give people more options, and make our country more self-sustaining.
Well, real quick on the Cardinal. The only way they're going to make the Cardinal daily is if they get more equipment. Right now, the Amtrak has a big equipment shortage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. It's not only that, they're going to have a lot more state support, particularly from Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Everybody else is going to have to pitch in and say, look, this is not just for a choo-choo train. This is for helping people get to places and getting jobs and boosting our economies.
Where you? Which one? Show
but anyway, Minor Tree, go ahead.
No, that guy would.
Guys there?
That's supposed to be free range.
Yeah, that was interesting. But Renell Reed asked a few good questions in the YouTube chat, and I wanted to answer them.
I was looking at that. Yeah, what if California High-Speed Rail declares bankruptcy? That would be.
Can they? I don't believe so, but I'd have to double check. But what if they did declare bankruptcy? There would be an audit that would have to go out, and I'm pretty sure they don't want that audit to go out.
I mean, the thing is,
because there'd be a lot of people that go to prison.
The problem is that they've already had audits. Basically, the last audit that we read from 2018 from the California state auditor said it was more or less summarized and saying, yeah, this is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And nothing happens. Like, yeah, they just basically spent $666 million on RDP consultants, but I mean, we're just audited. We don't make the decisions here. That's the problem with the audit. It's just like, yeah, we can audit all we want. It's the same thing. We can do more high-speed rail studies and more studies and this and that, but it doesn't amount to anything. It's just
and even if they did declare bankruptcy, I'm pretty sure a judge would see it, and it's like, we're not going to just auction off everything piecemeal. We're going to auction everything off to the highest bidder so they can actually build it according to the law they passed.
Yeah.
They would just basically be transferring ownership from the current system to somebody else.
We did that, Alan, somewhere. It's up and talking about the Asheville rail line up there in North Carolina, talking about them. You want to say something about it? Alan?
Floor is yours.
Oh, it's yours, bud. You posted it. You say it.
Wait, where's the where is it at? Oh, historic Asheville. Okay, I see it.
Who want to read it?
Yeah, guys. I mean, we're still suffering from what happened to Hurricane Helene in the Appalachia. I mean, it's just. I'm not going to let this go.
Why
this
is it taking this long?
It's a long
because they don't want to fix it. That's the thing. It's and honestly, for all that Trump has said about supporting everybody in Appalachia. Okay, look, dude, you're in charge now. Go ahead and get somebody in charge and fix it. Okay, all you have to do is put somebody in charge, make him the Appalachia czar, whatever. But look at this. It's fix it. Send down the Army Corps of Engineers and get it fixed. Okay, I know the Army Corps of Engineers isn't as impressive as it used to be before, but look, fix it. You have the power now.
Like, anybody want to read the article?
Yeah, I can read through it real quick. At least the key points. The old fort loops will be repaired. Norfolk Southern has told the NC Department of Transportation a timeline for repairs has not been proposed, but repair work has likely already begun, NC Railroad Division Director Jason Othner said. The historic stretch of railroad was built mostly by black convict laborers, many of which died during construction of the 5 tunnels near the loop. Okay, thanks for the history lesson. I guess that's pretty dark to hear. Yeah, they died building it.
Yeah.
Again, like I told you, like I've said, guys, like the railroad industry isn't sunshine and rainbows, but I mean it's built. Look at this. This was built by more than 100 years ago, and it's kind of still holding on. I mean, the bedrock is gone, but it's
holding on.
It's still there.
Dimitri, I know the reason why Norfolk's are rebuilding the line because they have an obligation to Amtrak because Amtrak actually talked about running trains to Asheville. If you remember the Amtrak Connect Us plan back from a couple of years ago, one of the routes that they had was going to Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah. Here it is.
Exactly.
Reporting on passenger rail to Asheville. Most requested location, Asheville. Most desired city for a North Carolina Amtrak stop. Yeah, that's again. They see money in their eyes. Again, the most cynical viewpoint. They see money in their eyes, and they're gonna build this real quick. They're gonna build it right back up.
Okay.
As
they
for
will make sure to build it correctly.
Yeah.
Before it falls in the river, we'll make sure the riverbed is stable, the banks are stable, rocks are stable. Everything has to be stable before the line gets on.
Yeah. But that's again when it comes down to, like we said before, private companies tend to build much faster here in the United States because they have to make a timeline, they have to make a profit, and the sooner the better.
Oh yeah, that for sure.
Hey, I did.
Yeah, we need those to look into California. Yeah, they've been talking about looking into that.
Army Corps of Engineers is right now. Apparently, they are in Western North Carolina.
Okay, good.
So maybe they're the ones. They don't build it; they contract it out.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, yeah, it's
the Army Corps of Engineers has always done that. They always contract out to other.
Yeah, it's contract work. Yeah, but
they just design what the plan will be.
Yeah, I mean they used to.
They have their hands full with Appalachia, not just in North Carolina, but several other.
They're in Western North Carolina right now. Apparently, they're in Western North Carolina.
Yeah, there's places in Tennessee and Lower West Virginia and Kentucky that are still messed up too.
According to Google.
Yeah.
Well, look at the work closures. It's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Well,
I don't know. Let me see. This is December 13th. Yeah, this was still
right
like
now,
3 months after the hurricane. It's still was still all messed up.
I know. I also know right now they're going to turn one of the interstates into a 2-lane highway temporarily, so that there's that main connection again.
On I-40.
Is that Interstate 40 by any chance?
Yes, they recently been open to 2 lanes, is what I recently heard, but I don't know how it's possible to get the other 2 lanes open if they run to a river.
They have to rebuild. They got to rebuild every bridge, dude. It's going to be a long, long process.
And CSX is rebuilding their Blue Ridge subdivision because they got completely wiped out.
Oh yeah.
They gotta build back. They gotta bring back the base. They gotta bring back the base. They gotta bring it out from somewhere. All that dirt got washed away.
All that dirt got washed down the mountain.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let me let Darius wanted to speak. Darius, is there anything you wanted to say? Apologies if we dropped you there.
Demetrius, about the problems about funding and actually getting things done, it's been haunting me about libertarianism. Or as you could say it, I've been right-wing libertarian, but the way Singapore has really fixed up their infrastructure and how housing might be affordable again, it's raving on me.
In what way?
Struggle of libertarianism.
Well, that's the thing. Singapore is not, for as business friendly as Singapore is. it's not libertarian. You know, it's
No,
a,
it's not. Let me give you a quick backstory on
It's
Singapore real
technically a
quick.
single party dictatorship.
Drugs, of course not.
So
Using drugs
thing
is
with
punishable by
Singapore-
death.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
If you have drugs,
they don't
you
have
are
to, they don't
definitely
have much
not
crime
punishable.
there. I guess it works. They,
You literally, if you get caught smuggling, they will hit you for as many times as they think you need it.
that's why they call it Disneyland with a death penalty. I mean, look, it works. Yeah, look, it works. I mean, even well, now Duterte. Speaking of like in the area in the Philippines, you know, now he's getting caught by the International Court or whatever. Which, look, I mean, he was doing what Singapore did. He even said that he was looking what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore and saying, "Hey, I want us to do the same thing in the Philippines and make it as good as that." So I mean, this. Look, there's things that work in Singapore, and there's things that, you know, if we were to adapt it over here in the United States, it wouldn't really work. But
it would actually go against our Constitution.
Yeah, but
yes. Say this, that my wife home country for you, that Vel home country, my wife.
Oh, the Philippines, yeah.
Singapore is like perfection. You gotta be perfect.
Yeah, look, there's bad and there's good and bad when it comes to Singapore,
jaywalking,
but look,
like, jaywalking is strictly forbidden.
yeah, and there's things that they get a little bit ridiculous on, but you know, it's their own society, it's their own nation, that they have their own laws. So I mean, if anybody from the United States goes there and gets caught smoking weed, I mean, sorry, yeah, you knew what you're getting into.
My point was the one that you guys raised earlier, that we can have what we like about the Netherlands, such as the fact that there's no there's no bureaucracy keeping them from making a tunnel within 48 hours, but we can also reject the fact that they arrest people for tweets.
Mean tweets, yeah. Look, yeah, use what works, discard what is useless. That's what we need to do. Adapt what works for this country, and use what has worked.
And then laugh at the rest.
Yeah. It's a simple philosophy, but I mean, look, it's just the foundation.
Libertarianism still hanging in there.
Yeah. Wait till you start growing up. I don't mean that in any mean way, but I mean, like, look, it's the problem with the libertarian society is that it requires everybody else to be libertarian too, and unfortunately, that's not reality. That's the problem.
America, baby.
Yeah. And I mean, look, you can have more of a libertarian thought in America, but that, again, it requires most of society to conform and accept those social terms rather than just doing whatever the heck they please. Because most companies right now, they're not conforming to any sort of, let's say, non-aggression principle, if you want to speak of it that way. I don't think Blue Cross and Blue Shield cares about the NAP.
That's causing all this social inequality that's right now.
Yeah, and these are major issues, and I know we've talked about it, but look, all we can do right now, and it's not rack our heads around the bigger picture and just rack around, let's say, stuff that we can do ourselves in our own community. Moving step by step, like that, yeah, the Via Rail apprenticeship program may not be much, but that's something that, look, if you got together with somebody in your community and made an apprenticeship program, that's a step forward. Getting involved with your local commission meetings or local DOT meetings and stuff like that. There's certain ways and certain things that we can be able to do, or just now, it's a lot easier now. You can go on X and just start pushing these ideas because, at some point, let's say the vice president, he will start looking at those ideas if they become more and more, as they become more affluential on X. That becomes a thing, or more influential on X. So that's what we got to keep doing. We're moving in the right direction. It's step by step at a time. Again, this is not going to get fixed overnight. It's a step by step process.
Even if we agree on what reforms need to be made, how those reforms need to be made, and we make them all by the end of this month, and we start working on the physical infrastructure by January 1st of next year, we're probably going to be working on this for at least next decade, possibly to be, if we want to be realistic.
Yeah, guys, we're gonna see this. We're gonna get gray hairs by the time we start seeing this.
I'm already starting to get gray hairs, and I'm not letting you.
Sooner.
Yeah, I mean, depending for most of us, yeah. Like I know we're in our 20s and 30s over here, but yeah, we're getting into that. We're getting there. The Norwood Reaper is coming for us, and our hair. Oh man.
You're gonna laugh. The last generation.
I really don't want to think about how our own retirement would be.
We're not retiring. I don't think we're retiring. I'm just saying that right now, and we're not retiring. I'm not counting on it. I don't think anybody in our age group should be and forget Social Security. Because even right now, like the poor boomers who are dealing with it, the ones who've been pushed down the bottom of the bucket, they're getting swiped really hard for it. I mean, first of all, they have to pay taxes on the Social Security, which you already paid into Social Security, so now you have to pay taxes on top of that. Second of all, it's barely paying for anything. Like, if you live in Florida, well,
Dude,
the rents have gone
Security,
up. Yeah, the HOA has gone up.
It.
Yeah, you can't afford anything
right now. Social Security is running out of money.
It's been run out. It's been ran out.
It's way too complicated, and I don't want to go on an hour-long rant explaining it.
Yeah, it's very short. It's $100 trillion in debt and liabilities.
It was over 150 trillion over a decade ago.
Yeah, it's probably
gotten worse.
It's probably like close to 200-300 at this rate.
It was already in 2011. Learn Liberty did a special on it. I think it was like 6 to 8 minutes long, where they go over how much the unfunded liabilities were, and just the unfunded liabilities in the United States alone was greater than the entire financial output of the entire world combined.
Oh boy!
Yeah, it's
and that was over a decade ago, mind you.
Yeah, guys, we got a lot to do with. All right, somebody's mic is going.
going.
Who's the culprit?
ACB.
ACB, it's your mic.
Is that you?
All right, no, we're good.
Not mine.
All right, guys, it's 10:05. Let's 5 more minutes. Let's end this. Let's put this train to rest at 10:10. Last words. Anything we want to get in?
Four weeks to go. Liberty will be up and running.
It's getting there.
Amtrak available the high-speed train in April.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, hold on, let me see. Okay, whose mic is that again? No feedback. No feedback zone.
NPC, is that you?
No.
Okay.
It's not me.
California high-speed rail is becoming more and more like a.
Speaking of Alstom. Okay. Somebody's mic is doing that.
Somebody's mic is on.
It's ACB again.
No, not me.
Oh, it's
okay.
ACB.
All right, we got it. All right. Okay, so speaking of Alstom, here's in France the new their new Alstom interiors have just come out, so that's pretty cool. I mean, look, we can imagine if we could do something like that. This is for the Avelia Horizon series, which is a double-decker version of what Amtrak got.
Double-decker than what we have?
Yeah. It's very let's put it this way, it's very postmodern French. It's not bad. It's let's put it this way, it's a lot better than what we get mostly in the United States.
That's their bar car, by the way, or their bistro.
Yeah.
Dude. California high-speed rail is becoming ACB.
Meet that.
Oh. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, something keeps grabbing the feedback. Go ahead, whoever was speaking before.
California high-speed rail, every time someone talks about it, it's like just an alcoholic drink. Once you drink it, you never stop.
Oh man, it's a bad one though, and that's speaking. to stick on the analogy, the hangover after whatever's going to happen with California high-speed rail, because at this point, I don't think there's any path, and I'm saying it here, I don't think there's any path to them actually operating this. This is not happening.
It's just gonna get scaled back eventually.
Either scaled back or something to the point that it would. If the best case scenario right now is that they just operating a train to nowhere in the Central Valley, and that would be.
The construction company is going to demand a lot of money, and if they can't pay it off, guess who owns it?
Amtrak.
Honestly, I'd rather Amtrak.
Actually, it'll go back. I think it'll go back to the construction company, who will then tear it all apart and just set it back to normal. They lost money on it. Why should they? Why should they keep it?
I mean, they got contracted for it, so they already got paid. They don't have to do anything.
Well, usually they get paid at the end of the project. My grandmother does auditing at the Iowa DOT. It's at the end of the project when everyone gets paid. It's weird.
I don't know. It could be different in California because they probably have a different pay structure. I'm not quite sure.
Sometimes,
I mean, especially with all the they've already spent.
Sometimes companies want more money than what they originally were going to be given.
Yeah, I mean, they've already spent what 13 or 15 billion already to basically build nothing.
Talk about nothing.
It's it. You built a couple of viaducts and some concrete structures in the Central Valley. What are you doing? I mean, a kid with the Tonka truck could have done more in the time that you've taken to go ahead and do this.
The Tonka truck was done. The kid of the Tonka truck got done years ago.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it is, if that was a highway, they would have built all of what they've currently built in probably less than a year.
No,
yeah, for highways, they'll go ahead and they'll speed up very quickly. Last thing, and then we'll close it out for the guy.
It's really easy because all they got to do is build a viaduct and it's unpaved the road.
Last thing, and then we'll close it out for the night. So Texas, because nobody's mentioned this, another oil baron is coming to kill the Texas Central Railway project. What do you guys think about that?
They're just crybaby children because they're mad that something better than a car is coming to town.
More options.
Dimitri, I think it's time for us to start fighting back, and I think it's time for us to start exposing who really going to try to stop it and expose their, Tennessee and how they want their money to say where it wants,
Yeah, I mean, we already exposed it. I mean, look, all we can do is probably, look, I don't think this Ray Hunt guy or whoever, probably Hunt Realty is probably not too well, and they probably just hired a bunch of 20-something-year-old,
they're gonna
professional,
hire a lawyer.
Media marketing. Yeah, well, I mean, probably that. But like, look, what are they going to do on X when you have freedom of speech? They can, make your life hell. But I mean, apart from that, we can just the same thing that we've done before.
And the worst thing about it is, if you actually crunch the numbers, the oil demand's going to fall down by what? A full percentage point, maybe 2.
I've seen the big oil fields. Dude, they're massive. They're huge.
Yeah, and
so imagine half of it just not being used.
Yeah. Look, and I'm pretty sure it mainly has to do with his real estate. I just find it funny. It's another oil baron, but it has to do with, like, he's building a whole bunch of, 750K ranch homes that are ridiculously expensive. All over Dallas. Like that, Dallas needs more urban sprawl at this rate. But at some point, in the next couple decades, Dallas and Houston are just going to meet up with all the urban sprawl. It's going to become Dallas Houston or Fort Dallas Houston.
It will be
Fort Dalston or whatever.
I think it'll probably become.
It's turning into a Blade Runner dystopia that's just going to turn into like one mega city or what was it in Demolition Man, San Angeles or whatever, that basically Los Angeles and San Diego came into one city. Yeah,
actually, San Francisco, Los Angeles is going to be a thing one day.
Or Mega City 1, like in Judge Dredd or whatever. There you go.
Oh God.
No, I'm just talking about the California earthquakes and eventually...
The science fiction references won't stop. But anyway, all right, guys.
Demolition Man.
Anything else that we got left? Yeah, California's turned into Demolition Man.
Pretty much.
but isn't that the bad timeline?
I don't know.
Or
At this
good
rate,
memory?
I think we're in the bad timeline for California's in a worse timeline right now.
How do we end up on this timeline again?
I don't know. This is just a weird timeline that we're in. I don't know what's happened, what they're doing at CERN or whatever, but I mean, guys, Donald Trump is president.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Imagine telling someone that
believe
in 2000, oh yeah, Donald Trump becomes president of the United States.
Oh,
no. Here's the weird thing. Donald Trump is president, and people are surprised that it happened, even though any independent person told you that he was going to win by the time they shot at him the first time.
Yeah, now that I mean, still, I mean, I'm still surprised after 2016, even though I did like support him like back in 2015. I'm like, okay, this guy's got to be a shoo-in. I mean, like the minute he came down the escalators, like that's it. That's where my vote's going. That's it. I don't care. That's it. Forget Rubio. Forget Carson. That's it.
Okay.
And it's really sad when you realize a Democrat was a better Republican than the current Republicans.
I mean,
And
it's
they
just,
took a pot shot at the man, for Pete's sake.
yeah, that's what messed it up. And we still don't know anything about that. It's just crazy. Like,
We
yeah,
need
we
the
knew it was
truth
like what,
about July
whatever,
13th.
19-year-old.
I see it more as a
It's-
Democrat learned where the money was going and said, you know what, I like Trump. Because now I know, because he isn't sending the money where I thought he was sending the money to.
Yeah, I think that's how most people are feeling right now. I mean, look, the way things are going, it has to happen so we can start getting back to reality of fixing this country. And I think we're finally moving
coming
somewhere.
back to this
Things are happening. So, yeah.
We're getting there.
Well, let's
okay.
keep on going. But anyway, guys,
Yeah,
all right.
One more thing.
Let's.
I got one more.
Yeah, go ahead. Last thing.
Yeah. Did you hear the news? What's happening in Dallas right now with voting power?
Oh, with Dart or whatever.
Yeah,
Let me see.
yes, with Dart.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just bring that up because I know you posted it there.
Ooh,
New
Yeah,
bill will
mention it.
reduce Dallas's voting power on the dartboard. There you are. Okay, a bill filed in the Texas Senate this week would change the makeup of the board governing Dallas area rapid transit would each of DART's 13-member cities one representative on the board. Currently, there are 15 members who serve on the board, with some representing more than one city. Okay. Substantial restructuring of the board. I'm trying to see what the context of what they're trying to do over here. That would no longer be the case in this amendment. Amend a section of the state's transportation code to do away with the board member apportionment based on population, which is currently how board member votes are determined. So they're trying to, I guess, equalize the power of the voting. Which again, I'm not too familiar with Dallas politics and what this could probably do. So somebody there is going to have to tell me off the top of the head.
I'm saying some Simmons might be cut, that's what I know, but I don't know how Star is going to be funded.
Identical bills, the House and Senate would reduce DART's funding by 25%.
Right.
Yeah. Texas politics are just weird. I don't know what's the matter with you guys. I
Yeah.
mean, the governor you got there and stuff that's going on.
like
I don't know
Texas
what's going
politics.
on.
It's just a whole other ballroom.
This is
It's a whole different ball.
this is the Republican version of
Texas
Illinois. That's basically what it is. It's the Republican version.
Definitely,
Of,
dude.
in terms of weirdness of politics, it's just weird.
First you get oil people complaining about high-speed rail, and real estate people complaining about high-speed rail.
Well, let's
Dude,
let the Texan here have the last word. Minor tree. What are your thoughts?
Well, since I have family up in DFW area, they don't really know a lot about rail, so I
don't
probably
know
would
about
have
Dart?
to explain it a lot to them. But for the
Basically,
most
you
part,
gotta explain to them like they're children.
yeah, I
You
mean,
gotta hold their
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
No offense.
All right, let Minor Tree finish. Let Minor Tree
What you
finish.
have to do.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's really gonna come down to how much extra people are going to want to ride on DART, because right now it's just a few main commuter lines and suburban lines with some decent mass transit options inside the downtown area, but other than that, there's not a lot there. Though if they do build the high-speed rail stations in both areas, that would easily bring up demand for darts. But right now, because the Texas Central is still up in the air, that's still not really gonna be helpful, at least until a decision's made one way or another.
Yeah.
Hey,
This goes back.
Yeah.
This goes back, guys. We'll end it. We'll end it here.
And Houston.
Yeah. This goes back to an earlier
Washington?
point. Americans want public transit, but they don't trust their local governments to bring it or run it correctly. That just basically comes down to that.
Yeah, trust in government is gone down.
Oh yeah.
Dramatically.
All right, guys. I think we'll end it here. It's 10. We're 8 minutes up. That's where I was going to end it, but I think this is good. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll leave it for the Discord. We'll have more discussion there. But all right, everybody. Thank you all for coming on board on this wild ride here on the American Rail Club on this live stream, the ARC stream. Thank you all for coming on board. This has been what a discussion. We've gone through a lot here, but this is it. This is the club. This is why we're a club, guys. So thank you all for coming on board. We will see you all next time. Take care and Godspeed. See you again. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Sayonara.
Bye.